possible suicide.
To drug addicts.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, is there a common thread among people that do seek counseling?
For, and I'm going to just say that for murder, because in my professionalism, that's what has happened. Someone has murdered these precious children. And if I'm seeing someone for that reason, I'm very careful as to what I say about their past with their own nuclear family, because many times that can be a point that will just set them off and into a negative direction. Let them do the talking and maintain that distance. Just don't have any transference between counselor and client. Be empathetic, but not to the point of patting her on the back and said you did a good thing.
Yeah.
Help them realize the horrendous thing that they did. Whether I see religion as a catch-all.
Yeah.
Hell, my preacher told me to do it, or my religion said, or God came down and spoke to me and told me to kill my children.
Yeah, that happens.
And that's a major part of almost every one of these incidences.
It's true.
And I just believe we need to stand. Here I go. I'm sorry. We need to stand up, shoulder to shoulder, in constant prayer and in constant love that has no strings attached, and welcome these people that are depressed and afraid to talk about it, maybe, or have a new child, new baby, and may need a little help. Somebody's got to stand up and say, this is not right. Mothers killing children is wrong. It's wrong scripturally, emotionally, physically, psychiatrically. Every aspect is hurt and damaged. And we need to treat these people in love.
Right. And we do reserve judgment, for people. But the thing is, to me, if something's not right, societally, you need to say, hey, this doesn't fit with a normal society. I mean, this doesn't fit with a healthy psyche.
Right.
And, we do need to understand that there are problems. A lot of times, sometimes I've been quick to say, oh, that's right, that's wrong, that's good, that's bad. And to me, there are some of those instances in life, but a lot of times there's so many gray areas, there's so many backstories that people just don't know. And even though I think that there's not any good excuse to kill your children, there are extenuating circumstances. One reason women kill their children is the Medea complex. I think I read that right, where it's a vengeful killing to retaliate. And then there's a fatal child abuse, where the child has just been abused and abused and abused and abused. And I read about one, she was 15 years old, and she weighed 50 pounds, I think. And she had so many healed, broken bones, and so many organs that were damaged or dying. And, it's hard to think about this happening in a civilized society. But the woman that did this, she did not do the other children in the household that way. It was just this one child. And she would lock all the food up, and she had the key. She would lock all the bathrooms up, and the child would have to drag her bloodied body to the toilet. That was where she was allowed to drink from, the toilet. And a lot of women are abused, and they
Repeat
just
abuse.
reciprocate. Right, they repeat the abuse that was dished out to them. And it's just hard for society to embrace women that kill their children. But juries and judges are fairly lenient on them for many different reasons. So if you're if you're, like I said, if you're cray-cray and you're insane, then you need help in that area. You don't need to be locked up in the general population, with purely mean people. Does that make sense?
They were
Yeah.
saying that the majority of time that, in almost every instance, a mother that kills her children is put into, mental hospital. Not every time, but almost a lot of the time. But the father is almost rarely ever done anything with but executed or prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
That's true. That is true.
And I read that, and then when you were talking about the research you did, where it talked about the actual motives or the reasons that the father killed was out of vengeance, or the child abuse versus, the mom having a mental break, some of the time, most of the time, or a lot of the time, can kind of see why. But I think the dads still need help too, because if they're abusing the child, they've got a mental, possibly mental issues too.
Possibly.
They can't blame it on baby blues, but
No,
But
no, that's something I'll reserve judgment.
another thing that I read was that it was talking about that the woman, has very little that she considers to be something that's solely hers. And even though the father helped create the child, the woman's body and what she produces from her body, her child, she considers like her property. And that may be one thing that, she deemed that this is my property and I have a right to do with it or take care of it, protect it, or harm it, or, type thing. And,
Yeah.
the article was saying maybe we need to quit viewing infants as anybody's property. And,
Yeah.
I agree with that,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We just had a new neighbor move in, and young couple, and she's like 7 months pregnant, and she's not doing very well mentally during this pregnancy. It's her first child. She's not sure what's happened to her body and why. She thinks that the baby may be possessed by
Lord
Satan.
Jesus.
And it probably would be at very high risk to harm that child once it's born.
She thinks it's possessed
And
by
what I
Satan.
did, I talked to her husband, and we had her Baker Act. She was indeed a danger to herself or others.
Yeah. Well, thank God.
So we put her in mental health care for at least 72 hours. And I know that's going to be just a Band-Aid, but at least she's got her husband and myself and my roommate as part of her ongoing support system. Her parents disowned her because she married a black man, and they won't speak to her or talk to her, have anything to do with her or this baby.
Wow.
So I'm just real glad
Little
God's
gems.
got me in there ahead of time before the baby comes, and maybe we can prevent one of these
Yeah.
killing of your children in the name of Satan. That's so
Exactly.
sick and wrong.
It is. I mean, and that's a red flag. So at least she has this in her papers that,
Yep.
thank God.
Another thing I wanted to bring up is that so many people think that there's this instant, inseparable, unbreakable bond between a mother and a child, and I agree that there should be, and it's expected that there is, but some people want to hold on to that no matter what, and they don't see that sometimes these women aren't forming these bonds because of the depression or because of a psychosis issue. And so they're quick to be like, oh, you're going to be all right, you're fine, think good thoughts, like the one doctor. I mean, he did tell her husband not to leave her alone with the baby, Andrew Yates' doctor. But go home and think good, positive thoughts. He was new to being her doctor only a few weeks, from what I understand. But he had, changed up the medication and, maybe was just of the opinion she would be okay, but just don't leave her alone, until she gets past this type thing. But, you see people just assuming and believing and wanting to believe and trying to even force relationships with mothers and children, even
True.
when the bond's not there.
Yeah, that's true.
So, that was one thing I'd read about.
Kimberly, oops, totally went out of my head. Oh, I was going to ask you, in your research, did you find that some people actually do not believe there is such a thing as postpartum depression?
I did not. I'm sure it's out there. I'm
Yeah.
sure there's people out there that stick their head in the sand and say it's her fault. She's like that because it's how she is.
Yeah.
When they don't understand, during pregnancy you have chemicals in your body that when you have the baby suddenly are gone, and you're going to react to that. I mean, it's natural, normal hormones, but they're there and then they're gone, and that's going to create a mood swing. It's not in their head,
Right.
But I didn't read about that, but it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me that there's doctors out there saying, just think positive, you'll get over it.
Right, exactly. That's kind of where I was driving at. I think it seemed like Brooke Shields and Tom Cruise had a feud about, I think she took some medication because after she had one of her children, she had postpartum depression, and he was all against that, being of the
Church of Scientology.
yeah,
thing.
Scientologist. I guess they don't believe in that, and I think maybe she might be too. And he was getting on to her, making public statements about this.
I think I remember that a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and to me, you're just making a bad situation worse.
Absolutely.
First of all,
Yes.
you're a man. Keep your
Yeah, shut your mouth, shut your trap.
I'm just kidding, but
Geese.
I mean, he's not going through it. He's not her husband. I think that he should reserve
It was
his
none of his
opinion.
business. None of his
Yeah.
business.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we all have opinions. We're going to be talking about some opinions in a few minutes that maybe we shouldn't, but we'll see how it goes. Kimberly, do you have anything to add to your postpartum depression or / psychosis information?
No, just to repeat what I said before, and like Monica said, if you don't have that bond with your baby, you're normal. That's not abnormal. If you are having thoughts of hopelessness and anxiety, you feel overwhelmed, please tell somebody. That's not abnormal either. If it goes on past 2 weeks, tell your doctor. There's treatment. And it's not anything to be ashamed of. It's not your fault. You're not a bad person. Get some help.
Right. Well, I keep asking, because my niece just had a baby, and I keep asking her, are you feeling okay? You getting enough rest? The baby's sleeping all right? Has Christian been around to help you? Because I know that the first week, and my husband was there in the home, but he was working, and I just felt like I really needed to let him work, and that I needed to do it, and I didn't reach out for help as much as I should have. And I got myself a little blue. I wouldn't say I was depressed, but I wasn't getting enough sleep. I wasn't showering, eating, doing the things I needed to do. Mm-hmm. And I was frustrated with the breastfeeding issue and all of that. So it was just me not doing the things I needed to do as a new mother, first-time mother, and feeling like I was kind of failing. And if I'd reached out for help or made it known, I had the support system there. And once I did, all of it changed around, and it became much easier, and things started going more smoothly. And there's always bumps in the road, but like she said, you have to get that help, and you have to ask for help. And the bond comes through spending time with the child and caring for the child, and so.
Right. At time does heal a lot of things in life.
Right.
And but sometimes, if it's so severe, you don't
Yeah.
have the time to wait on it, because time could mean
Right.
a dead child.
Yeah, and you do if it's not feeling normal, if there's you don't have the help, or you're not feeling right about something, and you need to ask for help.
Yeah. Exactly. Like Kimberly mentioned last week, I mean, she asked for help. She was a new mother, and she asked for help, and so that's perfect formula right there.
Right.
Okay, we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about something that Monica showed me this morning on her iPhone, and it was a picture of Eric Hovind actually standing on the new atheist monument at I believe, a courthouse in
Stark, Florida.
Florida.
Yep. A lot of you know that we've had Eric Hovind on the show, and we've had David Silverman on the show, and different people of differing beliefs and faiths and things. And June 29th, this past Saturday.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yesterday. They unveiled an atheist monument, the American Atheists did, in Stark, Florida, at the Bradford County Courthouse. And after unveiling it, it's a 1,500-pound granite bench. It has the monument to the side and then the bench. Apparently, there was a group of close to 200 people that were there. And after they unveiled it, Eric Hovind with Creation Today stood on top of not the bench part, but the monument part that stands up taller, and basically preached his beliefs during this unveiling event. At first, when this first caught my attention, it was actually on Facebook, and somebody had posted that he had broke the seal, the American Atheist seal, off of it because he was jumping on it. Later in the conversation, it was found out that he didn't damage it, from what, I read there that he didn't damage it. In the article I just read, he stood up there and basically did his speak, preached his beliefs. But then right after that, Dave Silverman,
who is president of
the American Atheists. He got up and stood on the 10 Commandments and said why he thinks they shouldn't be there.
I mean, honest to God, were these people 5?
That's what I was going to say. Where was their school teacher? Because kindergarten recess need to be over.
So
that's true.
Tools, honest to God. Both of them are embarrassing.
What was Eric Hovind thinking? I'm going to get up here and hack all these people off and then try to convince them I'm right.
Not going to work.
That's pretty much how most Christians unfortunately go about it. Let me hold a sign that says fags are going to hell, and let me get up here and tell you you're drinking, you're going to hell, and then I'm tell you all about how God loves you, and let's piss you off first, tell you how awful you are, and then we'll try and win you over with love.
Yeah, but I mean, David Silverman's no better.
Yeah,
no,
I mean,
exactly.
It's ridiculous. 5-year-olds.
Now, when I first saw the article, or first found out about it at all, and like I said, the person thought that he had broke it. Someone else that's been on our show a lot, Nick Albertini, got on there and he said, well, if it's been broken, I really think the atheists just should forgive him and not let it go under the bridge, and it'd be a great PR move. And I loved it. I thought it was so funny.
I like Nick Albertini.
Well, thank God it wasn't broken.
Yeah.
Kimberly and
But yeah, I mean, Mr. Silverman could have really promoted his position by acting like an adult.
Right, that was his shining opportunity to be the
And
big man.
He blew it.
He blew a big
And I think that's what Nick
ridiculous.
was saying, is that the atheists needed to, in this point,
Right.
just kind of, whether it was broken or not broken, they needed to kind of let it be the Christian that's wallowing in the mud while they took the high road.
Right, I mean, because then you'd be really, I don't know if it's the high road, but because you'd want them to look really ridiculous. And so you don't say anything. You say, honestly, I don't think none of it should be there. We have a viewer comment, like monkeys taking a dump on another monkey's ant pile.
All right.
That one's pretty good.
Yeah, that's funny. But Lord have mercy. Oh my gosh. I don't know what else to say, but embarrassing.
Where would you stand on that as a Christian? It's so juvenile.
Yeah.
It's like I'm gonna take your toy and not give you one back, and I'm gonna get one back plus 2 more back,
That's right.
who's going to win the battle?
Right.
When
Where's it
it's
gonna
so
end?
unnecessary. It's so embarrassing to our country
Right.
to have things like this going on and sanctioned as what's my word? A group meeting.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
you know.
People actually showed up.
Well, apparently
I'm
it's
sure
in the
they
free
cheered.
speech zone, so they were within their rights to do the free speech. I don't know why they had to do it standing
You are
atop
free to look like
the
an
monuments.
idiot. Go
but
right on
whatever.
ahead.
It's right on my head, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you don't stand on somebody's monument. I don't care what it's to.
No.
I mean, you just don't do that.
No, it's
You know-
horribly disrespectful.
Very disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
Embarrassing. That's all I can say. Just ridiculous. They topped my ridiculous list this week. Both of them.
Oh, yeah.
Juvenile. Okay, well, we have 3 minutes. I can't think of any other words to use on. I guess I'm being juvenile too.
What was
Monkeys, that was pretty good.
that? Was
I guess next week we're going to talk about the Paula Deen controversy. It'll probably take up the whole show, and it'll be probably a opinion only show. But we will try to give you as much information as possible as we know it. But next week we will talk about that. You know, gone too far or not far enough. We'll find out. So that's been Reflections for this week. Kathy, it's so good to have
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for your input as usual.
Thank you.
And I can't wait for next week. We will really have a good talk about this Paula Deen debacle. And we will see you then.
Bye-bye.
Have a happy 4th of July. And as my father-in-law used to say, he was going to celebrate the 4th with the 5th. Even though he didn't, but I always thought it was funny. So if you do, don't drink and drive.
Thank you.